Okay, so pretty much some news just came out about Wuthering Waves, which is actually over on the Play Store. Now, if you don't know, Wuthering Waves is featured on a bunch of different platforms, obviously Play Store being one of them, but they're also being introduced to some, new ones being Steam, and also I think there's some other plans to introduce it to, Mac, everything like that. I'm pretty sure the Mac version actually did come out. But this is actually something new that came out 17 minutes ago, and it says wuwa is now rated a 16 plus in the Play Store. Now, this is kind of crazy because obviously we've had recent characters like Cantarella and stuff like that who have been very, I guess you could say, revealing and, definitely caught the eye of a lot of people. And I found this very interesting that Wuthering Waves have now decided to up the kind of age rating and not bend the knee to, censoring them. Because, again, what we've seen with a lot of companies in the past, for example, like MiHoYo, is they've, gone back and they're like, okay, man, we'll go and censor some of the characters. Now, that was mainly to do with like the Chinese government and them being a little bit funny about censorship in their games, but I think this is slightly different, and it seems like wuwa has actually made the conscious decision to actually, change the age rating in the game. Now, obviously, yeah, it says here, rated 16 plus, nudity. Now, it includes nudity in here. Obviously, none of the characters are like fully nude. Like, that's just not a thing that is in Wuthering Waves. I think there's a lot of people who wish it was in this, but again, it's not. So again, it's very weird that it does say nudity because, yes, you could probably say sexually explicit content, I guess, but even then, I feel like it'd be, I guess, like sexually suggestive. That would be probably the best way to describe it, but I don't think nudity is the best way to describe it, unless Wuthering Waves are planning something absolutely crazy for the anniversary, which I just don't think is the case. Now, obviously, there's already been quite a big reaction to this on r/Wuthering Waves, with some people saying nudity, like Cantarella, and obviously people saying Lorelei too, and they're saying, oh, right. So I think a lot of people are kind of theorizing that, obviously Cantarella, her kind of design, it's like very like open, like compared to some of them, like obviously not Shorekeeper, but there's some characters out there that are a little bit more covered, but it is still quite sexually suggestive. But with, Cantarella and Lorelei, they're almost like fully out there. And even Lorelei, I think, is more of the one that this is targeted at, because again, she does look almost nude. I mean, that is probably the closest character I would actually see that, this got kind of flagged for. And, maybe it was due to the fact of Play Store telling them, hey, you need to change this rating because, it's not something that we allow on here. You need to change it from because it was a 12 before. So yeah, I think it's very interesting, and I wonder if they're going to change it on other platforms as well, because again, this is only just changed, or if Wuthering Waves are either going to go fully into the whole, leaning into the 16 plus kind of age rating stuff, and, going for even more character designs that are pretty crazy, or if they're going to hold it back a little bit to avoid getting even more kind of rating, notifications or whatever from these kind of platforms telling them to, calm it down a little bit because their games are getting a little bit too sexually suggestive. Now, obviously, this has been a very widely accepted thing in Wuthering Waves. A ton of people have really been enjoying the character designs of a lot of these, female characters that have been releasing, and even some of the male characters, Brant, he's looking pretty good. So again, lots of people have been really enjoying a lot of these characters come to the game, so I feel like they won't change it. And I feel like, obviously with the Cantarella sales, I looked at it in a previous video, they actually, they were higher than like Carlotta and stuff like that. It was crazy. And obviously that shows you how much a character with this kind of design like sells. It's really, really, good for Wuthering Waves in terms of revenue. It's really good in terms of engaging the player base as well. It's not only just a revenue thing. Like, you think about all the kind of interactions people had whenever Cantarella and a trailer came out. It was crazy, the entire space blew up. It is very, very exciting to see. And honestly, I think that Wuthering Waves should just keep it at a 16 plus and keep, leaning into that 16 plus thing, because it is working for them. It's growing them in terms of literally everything. I looked at Twitch Tracker the other day. I won't be able to pull it up, but I literally looked at it and there was like the kind of statistics, went up on Twitch Tracker. Like at the just in this kind of update period, it was going up. People were streaming the game more. The same with like Google Trends, everything like that. The overall bar of this game is going up, and the same with revenue, things like that. Revenue, although it hasn't like peaked like crazily like in the past, it's still going up, and it's still gradually increasing. It's not very obvious to a lot of people, obviously, because what people really want to hear, whenever it comes to revenue is, oh my god, they broke it by like 2 times and like the revenue's this much higher. That's just not the case sometimes. Whenever you're trying to build a kind of, I guess, sustainable company, is, you want the revenue to be going up slowly so that you can kind of interest more people, And it just kind of proves that there's a player base that is growing there rather than just a massive influx for one character, because we all know a good character doesn't exactly make a game. It can always go back down to back how it was, but this seems like it's going slowly up and up and up and up, and I think that's just great, and I think that's why they should really keep this 16 plus rating and not really, I guess, bend the knee to some of this other censorship stuff. Obviously, more people saying, I mean, it was 16 plus, except many country age ratings vary, so yeah, it can even go up or down depending upon the age rating system and those who are in charge of the age rating the game. So again, that is also another I guess factor, is the fact of where you live. Maybe this person who screenshotted it, and also I've seen a lot of people on Twitter screenshotting this as well, so I don't think it is just this person, but I think it does depend on what country you live in as well. It does change the age rating, because obviously over here in the UK, our age rating systems are different to, the US or maybe somewhere in Asia, which might, have a little bit stricter or maybe less stricter kind of rules on this kind of stuff. So that could also be a massive factor. And maybe, it's still a 12 in some other countries. I'm pretty sure last time I checked, it was at 16. But again, it's changed for a lot of people. Obviously, yeah, the PEGI rating is also changed with it being a 16 as well. PEGI is a pretty, I guess, internationally recognized company in terms of like rating things. Obviously, it's not the be all and end all for every single country, but PEGI usually does have the main rating that everyone follows, and a lot of people do follow anyways. And yeah, it seems like, this is a pretty, worldwide thing. I don't think it's to do with one particular region or anything like that. They say it doesn't seem to be anything negative yet, since the game has always had a more mature audience, probably changing what's due for either post-anniversary changes, hypothetically, or other major changes, which, could be pretty crazy if they're gonna, think about adding even more stuff that would be 16 plus or would be rated as a 16 plus in terms of Google Play. So I'm very excited to see what they could add in terms of the future and in terms of the anniversary. Obviously, someone put a screenshot of Lorelei saying, Laura Deity making the game be for big boys only. What nudity, wouldn't mind it though. Obviously, I feel like Lorelei is a big, part of that. This person throws up, it says teens, violence, suggestive themes. So I think it's changed for them as well. It's slightly different. They're saying, I'm not seeing the same rating. But again, I think it just depends on where you live. I think they have different kind of ratings and stuff like that. But I think nudity is pretty crazy so far. And they say Nikkei is still a 12 plus too. So again, I don't know. Maybe they're planning on doing something in the future. I feel like this isn't just necessarily a case of like, oh, something's already happened in the game. That, Wuthering Waves could be planning to make some more, revealing looking characters in the game. And, that's why the rating has changed. Because, as I said, we've got the version update coming up very, very soon. And maybe just before the live stream and stuff, which I think the live stream is set to come out soon, maybe they're, planning on getting all of this rolled out so that they can then release it. I mean, I need to check Steam and stuff like that later on. I do have a whole video about Steam coming out tomorrow. So again, definitely keep an eye on that. But yeah, it seems like, this is changing for a lot of these kind of stores, and it's changed on Play Store. And that's pretty much an update on the rating of Wuthering Waves and, what this could potentially turn into. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, go over to Game Subs, use my code Kaza. This is slightly a different video. I'm trying out something a little bit new in terms of just getting videos out quicker. If you guys do enjoy this kind of unedited stuff, let me know in the comments, because again, I would prefer, it's so much easier for me not to fully edit it and just like, release it. But it's just if it's as good quality for you guys, because the reason why I do edit my videos is because I want it to be, the best quality I can bring out. But hey, if it does good and you guys like it, then maybe I'll start doing videos more like this, where I can actually get it out on time and, pretty quickly. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.